Czech Republic. Hello, everyone. Lance Wynn alongside the lovely and talented Hall of Famer Jackie Smith, umpire-in-chief and cultural expert Rieru Taimaki. Always a pleasure to have you along with us as we set the stage here. Game one of the pre-tournament, and Jackie already underway. I'll get everyone caught up, but when you talk about a pre-tournament, first time 6 of the top teams in the world getting together to meet before, is it a benefit or is it something detrimental to the teams?
Kia ora koutou te whānau, great question, and absolutely 100% this is a fantastic opportunity for all of these teams. This is a chance for them to really get a bit of an understanding, maybe a bit of a reconnaissance on other teams and also for themselves, and get a gauge on exactly where they might be at. It's all about refining the game, getting themselves prepared for the World Cup.
And the World Cup, of course, takes place next week in Auckland, New Zealand. Here, of course, just down the road. I say just down the road. It's a long road, though, Jackie. And just to get you caught up, of course, we're scoreless here. We are in the top half of the second inning. If we roll back in time, of course, Japan earlier on got their leadoff man aboard with a walk and then a sac fly. Wasn't able to utilize back-to-back strikeouts, and we've got the first hit of the ball game, and it's Merrick Wolf who will push the runner along. So runners now first and second with 2 out here in the inning. Czech Republic in their previous at-bat to open the game, it was a walk, 2 walks, that was surrendered by Japan starter Kento Okazaki. And nothing came of that, of course, and here we are in the here and now. We will get you the lineups, of course, for both teams, but right now, back to the top of the shop, and Lucas Kubat 0 for 1, got caught looking in his previous at-bat. So a chance here with 2 aboard for the Czech team to open the scoring. And when you talk about Japan, of course, coming in as the second-ranked team in the world, Czech Republic rolling in at 6, you got to figure if they can get on top, it would be a good thing for the Czech Republic.
Absolutely, but look, we can see already that they've actually got up to a really good start. And what they've already shown us is actually the change in their patience and their maturity. That's what I'm seeing from them in the batter's box. They're just taking their time, seeing as many pitches as possible, and just sticking to the basics and making contact when that pitch is actually there. So not overthinking things, just really trying to just get into their groove.
Of course, the other crew that's out there is the blue crew, and the umpires are Gavin Shepard. Braden Wells will be at first base, Lee Evans at second, and Scott McLaren at third. So Gavin Shepard will be doing the calls at home plate, as you saw right there. And a little rally going here for the Czech Republic as they have loaded the bases.
A really good example of ahakohe here to Hiponomu, lads, in terms of doing the little things to help the team accomplish what they need to succeed at doing.
Well, we know that this game is built on doing the little things and teamwork and chemistry, and in order to be successful, you have to have all those elements in place. As it'll be back to Martin Rugala, hard hit ball to short, flipped by Une, and that will do it. So threatening, yes, but that's about all. Fielder's choice will end that threat here in the second. We're going to head to the bottom of the second inning. Japan to hit when we come back.
Load the bases but unable to convert them to runs. They will retire the side. We'll go to the bottom of the second.
Have you heard anyone in your ear? I haven't heard anyone. So as we get set here to dodge the raindrop, so to speak, had a little bit of rain forecasted today. Jackie sort of slowed up our start here, and not that any of us are meteorologists at all, but you have to figure that with the forecast we may have an interruption or two, but I think these teams are more than ready to get on the diamond as we take a look at the defensive lineup for the Czech Republic. Kubat, Harris, and Buchner are in the outfield, left to right. Nicholas Klaus at the hot corner. Jakob Heine is the shortstop. Martin Megala at second. Thomas Klein, of course, one of the mainstays on the Czech team at first. And Merrick Wolf will be catching for their ace of the squad in Michael Holobratic. And, of course, when you talk about Michael Holobratic, as we mentioned before, he was the fundamental leader for the Czech junior team in 2015 as we take a look at the batting order for Japan, and Sakata leading things off. Tei Hamamoto in the 2 spot. Yoyu Une, as we've seen, batting third. Matsuda, the big hitter, power hitter in the cleanup spot. Teriyama batting 5th. Naoki Kawada is in the 6th spot. Teo Kateoka will be batting 7th. Sei Kariawa 8th. And Yusuke Karabaha is in the number 9 spot. So a chance to answer here by Japan as it's Kazuya Toriyama to lead things off, as doesn't look like we're going to be dodging too many raindrops here, as the rain's just going to pick up just a bit. Took something off, did Holobratic, and a good change up there, and had Toriyama way out in front. And now we talk a lot about the pitchers and the players and what they do and the teamwork and that sort of thing, but the blue crew, something that sort of goes like the officials in sports, the guys that you really don't want them to play a role in the game, you just want them to quietly control it, but the umpires are out there every inning. And how does that wear on you guys as far as your ball strikes and how you're calling things as the game goes on?
So as umpires, we're actually standing out there while the teams get a nice little break and split. But when we're standing out there, we're really working hard to concentrate on what we're doing out there and making sure that we're able to contribute to the competitive nature of the game with the players competing against one another, and we're there to arbitrate and ensure that their competition is played out in the yard.
Well, we know, of course, you've traveled many places, done a number of different international events, of course, local events, too numerous to mention, but umpire-in-chief, you seem to be a mainstay for the WBSC, so I know that you have seen the ups and downs, the goods, the bad with that sort of thing. So appreciate you providing some insight into what is probably the toughest job out there on the diamond.
Thank you, Lance, and we appreciate the support that WBC gives us, yourself and the team, the broadcasting team, and all the feedback that we get from the players, the administrators. I look at it sarcastically. When we get good feedback, it's all part of the game.
And it looks like the rain coming down just a bit harder, and the teams are going to come off the diamond. We're going to do our best, of course, here at Ballpark Broadcasting NZ to keep you informed and in the loop, but we are here all weekend for this International Invitational Series brought to you by Tradestaff and Ballpark Broadcasting, NZ, as well as Softball New Zealand. We'll take a break and we will be back. Welcome back to Colquhoun Park as we resume play. Game 1 here of the Tradestaff International Invitational Series, the pregame warm-up to the 2022 WBSC World Cup of Softball, as that ball is lifted down the line. No chance out there for Voltek Buchner to track that one down. Naoki Kawada, the center fielder, with one away here in the bottom half of the inning. We're scoreless, and of course these two teams, Japan coming in as the second-ranked team, Czech Republic sitting at the 6th spot. This tournament like no other, never seen before. It is the 6 top teams in the world going head-to-head as Holobratic with a good drop ball will sit down Kawada. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. That looks like a miss down. And it hit by pitch. Thank you, Jackie, as Hall of Famer Jackie Smith in the booth with myself and Remu Temaki, the umpire-in-chief and our cultural expert here, as we are bringing you something a little different. Not too often, Jackie, and we talked about that off the top. You get a chance to size up your competition so close to a World Cup event.
Yeah, well, you don't really get to do that very often, not with the top 6 teams. Typically, you'd be away on tour and you might be, refining things at more of a local tournament in your area, playing against other teams, because you might not want people to see what you have to bring to the World Cup. So this is quite a unique opportunity. But you know what? You've just got to take it and make the most of it. And I think that this series will be a chance for many different things. It'll be a chance for coaches to get their combinations working well together, work the combinations also for their players on the field.
Ground ball to third, over to second to get the lead runner. So a good job from Mikolas Klaus, as you can score that on the 5-4 putout, fielder's choice. And there will be a runner in Teo Kateoka, who will be at first for Sei Kariawa. And you're right, Jackie. We talked off the top about who really is going to benefit from this kind of tournament. You don't want to show too much, but you still want to give your guys a feel of the tournament and the magnitude and that sort of thing to sort of get the nerves out of the way.
Yeah, well, it's all about teams understanding what is their team strategy going into the World Cup. What do those combinations look like? Do we have our signals? You know, in our game of softball, there's a lot of signals that transfer between pitches and catches. There's also just players getting quality game time, especially in the batter's box. You know, your pitchers want to get into their rhythm as well. So there's so many little things that you can be working on. And also, do teams want to show everything, or do they want to hold it back? So that's, you know, everyone is going to be looking for different opportunities in this series.
And that's where it's the fine line between what you show and the cards that you sort of keep to yourself. And either way, I think that these teams are going to get a chance to at least glimpse each other, as Holobratic took something off. KO are not able to pull this trigger. It was a good job doing the take. Count even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. So 3 games on the schedule today, of course, this Japan-Czech Republic, followed by Argentina against Australia. And then the nightcap 7:30, New Zealand against Canada, as Holobratic will pitch his way out of that jam and sit down the side with 2 strikeouts in the inning. 4 overall. We have played 2 complete. We're scoreless here at Colquhoun Park. We will be back. You're watching coverage of the 2022 Tradestaff International Invitational Series on Ballpark Broadcasting NZ, brought to you by Softball New Zealand. Welcome back as we are underway here. Top of the third inning. Scoreless ball game. Japan taking on Czech Republic. And it'll be Mikolas Klaus, the third baseman. Second time through the order to face Kento Okazaki. And it was a fielder's choice for Klaus in his first at bat. That one is fouled off, and he will be in the hole now. 2 balls and a strike. Well, Jackie, I like the fact that you alluded to the time span as different teams come from different places in the world and seasons are ending differently. So some teams are in the middle of their season. Other teams haven't played in some time. Other teams sort of maybe a month off too. How much do you think that is going to be a factor here in this, I'd say, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge factor for many of the players, if not all of them actually. They'll be, because as you mentioned, they're all at different stages. They've all had probably, I would think, limited opportunity from what I'm aware of actually playing this level. So they would have had, as we know with the Black Sox, they've had an opportunity to play in local competition. These teams probably have had that opportunity as well as training, but they haven't come to an international series, right, and play against that international level. So they will all be really hungry for this, and we know they were because we saw.
Player barehanded by Une, and what a play as he read that bounce perfectly, took the risk, and was able to barehand that and get it over in time. So
fantastic play. Fantastic that play there by the shortstop. That's great fielding, which you would expect from a top quality shortstop. It was a bit of an off hit and had a bit of a spin on it, and even then when it bounced, he had to judge that ball. No time to actually take it in the glove. It was just bare hand and make that play to first. So that's a world-class play there. But as I was going to touch on before, you know, we saw earlier when the teams were preparing for this game, there was the rain delay, and, you know, sometimes that's going to happen, but we saw that they were keen to get on the field. They weren't really worried about the conditions. They're here to play. They know they need game time, right? So they're going to make the most of every opportunity that they have here.
So just a correction, Klaus was called out on strikes, and then Thomas Klein with the excellent play from Yuyo to record out number 2, and now that brings up the number 5 hitter in Merrick Malley. Let me backtrack a sec here, as that is Thomas Klein still at the plate. So I'm going to go with 6-3 on the play by Uno on Klaus, and now Thomas Klein is now the hitter. So thank you for straightening me out, Mr. Umpire-in-Chief, as we get back into the flow of things, of course. And there is one away here. Now, one away here is what I've got on my scorecard.
And Lance, it's all about mahi tahi, eh? Mahi being work and tahi being together, and that's what we're doing right here, working together.
Well, it's been quite impressive the way the Ballpark Broadcasting NZ crew has come together, and the outstanding work that they've done throughout the last couple of seasons, building what was a little anthill into what's slowly becoming a bit of a mountain. And that in itself, of course, it's about the team and about the people around that have built it. So it says a lot about what's being done here. Back to work and missing outside. So Thomas Klein works his second walk in as many at-bats. And a runner aboard now for Merrick Malley. So you, Jackie, talked about discipline being an issue, and we've sort of covered a number of World Cups and watched this Czech team sort of from the junior ranks and the nucleus move up to the senior ranks, and one of the knocks on them has been that they just haven't been very disciplined at the plate. we're seeing something different here early on.
Yeah, well, I think that they've been on a bit of a journey in terms of a team and their maturity, right, at international level, and that already that's what we're seeing is they're reaping the rewards of that, aren't they? Is that they've thought about it, they've gone away, they've said, okay, what do we actually really need to do in terms of our hitting, our patience in the batter's box, and really having good quality turns at bat, but being tough outs.
That ball single up the middle will move the runners along.
And they're just really showing confidence in the batter's box. We've already seen that in these 3 innings.
So 2 aboard here with 2 out, and second straight inning, when you look at it, Jackie, that the Czech team has been threatening, had runners in scoring position here against Okazaki.
Yeah, they have. And so, and that's, again, you know, when we mentioned before the mahi-tahi, so it's the contribution from each player is making sure that when there's an opportunity, there's a runner on base, that they're making sure that they're moving the ball, so they're really maximising those opportunities.
George Harris, the batter here, center fielder, grounded out in his previous at-bat, second time through, and he looks at a pitch in there for a strike.
I think he thought that might have been just a little low and a little inside, but, you know, that's the umpire's call there. That's his strike zone.
Well, we've got, of course, an umpire up here. Tell me a little bit about what the philosophy's like about establishing the strike zone early on in the game. Is that something that you consciously do as a home plate umpire?
Look, at this level, lads, these are international umpires, and this is mahi that they do. You know, they do it day in, day out in their own backyard and their domestic comps. When you get in here, you're nervous. Don't get me wrong, we're all nervous. And
that ball's popped up, going to be a tough play. Had to wait, but they'll get the force at third. So good heads up from Sakara to play that on the short hop and get the force at third. So that, I believe, is going to be the second out of the inning. And, of course, we have to apologize to our viewers. It's working out some kinks on both ends, as there's some discussion now with whether or not just trying to find out what the discrepancy might be. And Jackie, that's one of those plays, and a lot of times you can get it where an infielder gets a pop-up, purposely lets it drop to try and complete the double play.
Yeah, that's right. So that's the infield fly. If you have runners on first and second and less than 2 down, then the umpires should be calling it, right? So the runners don't have to run.
And I'm not quite sure if
So
that's what the discussion was.
Confusion here, right? Yeah.
Yes.
so I think that plate out by did indicate an infield fly, which would mean that the batter is automatically out. But there was a runner on second who went to third, who was played out in a force. There was no tag.
But he would have been called out already initially. Is that correct? Is that what the discussion is?
The batter runner would have been called out
right
for the second out. The runner who was on second going to third.
So theoretically, it should be runners first and second with 2 away. Is that correct in that assumption? Because it looks like we've got one of the head umpires out there now discussing it.
Yes, and so I think the question's been asked here is the runner who went from second to third, because that runner at third wasn't tagged, the defensive team just played a force. That offensive runner wasn't tagged, so there's questions about whether that person there is out or should they be back out there on third base.
So it's certainly a lengthy discussion, and we're lucky we have your insight here to kind of dive into the middle of that conversation, as it just seems to me a little a conversation. I'm not quite sure what Japan's arguing about, if you know what I mean. Like maybe they're looking for clarification, but maybe it was, like you said, was there an immediate call on the infield fly?
I seem to recall the plate umpire second putting his hand up to indicate an infield fly. So, as we know, runners on first to second, less than 2 down. That batter runner would have been automatically out, and the runner on second who went to third, he's not really out until he's tagged. And so he wasn't tagged. He was assumed to be taken as a force out, and that's why.
When we talk about the infield fly rule, is that a judgment call for the umpire, or what's the criteria to an infield pop-up?
Hey, it's.
Oh, I'm working you hard. I know I am.
That's okay, because our international and international audience are listening in. But an infield fly is obviously runners on first and second are occupied with less than 2 down, and the hit is a high fly ball in the infield area that can be taken easily or with great effort, or least effort by the defensive player. So that was an example of an infield fly.
So, as we resume play after that lengthy discussion, it'll be Voltek Buchner, the right fielder, who comes up. And as you can see, the runners now have gone to second and third after that discussion. So, got the call correct, is that right?
That's the correct call.
Buchner with a chance to open the scoring here in this tournament. Looks at a pitch upstairs for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. There are 2 away. And 2 aboard. That ball lifted up and yanked foul. So certainly got a good piece of that. Did Buchner, not able to keep it between the lines, as looking for a clutch 2-out hit here to open the scoring here at the Tradestaff. Of course, the WBSC World Cup set to go next week in Auckland. And took a little off, so a good job to bear down was Okazaki. He gets Buchner to swing through for strike 3, no runs. 1 hit, 2 left aboard, and we have played 2.5. We're headed to the home half of 3 when we come back.
Mariano.
100.9.
Just
Never take time to worry about life. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Know that you are right. There's a world to behold. Another day you will grow old. So take time with the ones you love. Take time with the ones you love.
Number 1 for all the best throwbacks, 90s and more.
welcome back as we get set for the home half of the 3rd inning. Scoreless ball game between Czech Republic and Japan. Game 1 of 3 here at Colquhoun Park in Palmerston, North, New Zealand. Michael Holler-Braddock will see the 9-1-2 hitters as that one gets away, and Yusuke Sakuraba will make his way down to first base. Certainly not anything intentional, but that's the 2nd hit batter by Holler-Braddock in this ball game. And that'll take it back to the top of the shop in Hiroshi Sakura. So certainly no intent there, Jackie.
No.
It's got away a bit as you have to be able to throw the ball inside at this level.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a little bit of also, you know, the conditions, getting into your groove, into your technique, trying different pitches, and you know that's just part of why they're here. Why they're here, so they can refine things, and that just got away on him, as you said.
Runner goes, throw down is aired out, and good job of covering was George Harris out there as that ball got airmailed from Eric Wolf, and I think they're going to call a leadoff on the play. So runner left early. So much for that leadoff hit, as Sakuraba will be called out, and it'll be one away with Sakara still at the plate here. And a 1-0 count.
So there's all these little things just coming into the game that's, you know, they're trying things out because they need those opportunities. Timing, so your timing, getting off the base. All of those are so important. They're just those little micro things, the basic skills of the game that they need to get right before the World Cup.
Well, I'm going to cut the Czech team a little bit of slack, considering it was a 45-hour journey to get here for them. They went through Japan, Africa, then Japan, and then got here, 10-hour layover, and they got in last night. So to be on the diamond here today, you got to figure that in itself takes a little, and they're going to take them a little bit of time to maybe shake out the cobwebs just a bit and sort of right the ship, so to speak.
Yeah, well, we saw that then just in that play. It was you'd probably say a poor throw from the catcher down to 2. So if you're working on your throwdowns as a catcher, you know, you want to make sure that you're getting those on if we were in the World Cup. And your leadoffs, well, you really don't want to get called out for your leadoffs, right? So all of these things, that's what they're here for. That's why it's so important.
And that speaks volumes about, you know, just ahakoa hiti he paunamu and mā whiro, mā pango ka oti te mai. Just working those things together and achieving the successes that need to be done.
Yeah, that's right. It's the contribution of everybody towards the game, right?
That's what this game's all about. Holo Braddock with a change-up, and that's fouled off by Sakara. I know this, of course, being my second visit from Canada. The first time I came, when I left, it was the best trip I had ever taken. So hence the reason I decided to come back, and I expect this one to replace that one as being the best. But the cultural differences and similarities, as that's a ground ball, easy play down there at first for Thomas Klein. The similarities between Canadians and Kiwis is something that you have to be Canadian to actually really understand, because we sort of treat the Kiwis as our East Coasters, and our East Coasters, of course, are known as the most hospitable, friendly Canadians in all of Canada. So you know where we sit with the Kiwis. We love you guys, and for me, it's just a thrill and an honor to be here working with you guys and swiping a bit of your knowledge and your culture, if that's okay with you.
That's okay, Lance, and that speaks volumes of, you know, manaakitanga here in New Zealand, here in Aotearoa. Manaakitanga being showing hospitality and just showing generosity, and that's a big value in our Māori culture.
Yeah, in our Māori culture, but also in our game, right? You know, we're all about community, we're all about whānau. You know, we're all in this together, our waka ikanoa, and it's so important to us that we welcome people into our sport and into our country.
Absolutely.
Te Hamamoto, the right fielder, up there having a solid at-bat as Holo Braddock wanted that call. He nibbled on that corner but didn't get the call.
And he seems to be just really getting in there and going at these hitters, isn't he? Yeah, he's just rearing back and having a go at all of his different types of pitches that he's shown us today already.
That ball flared foul. And again, Holo Braddock's come a long way from the young brass pitcher who was carrying the team on his shoulders, now part of a bigger, stronger unit, of course, in this Czech team. And The last World Cup, 2019 in Prague, Czech Republic, was their best international showing ever, finishing in the 6th spot. So they're looking to build on that, and coming in, of course. And that ball looking for the hole, but there was none. Good play from Martin Magula to record the out. You can score that 4-3 in the inning, no runs, no hits, nobody left the board, and we are moving on to the top of the 4th inning. And we spoke here about chemistry, team, and that sort of thing, and you got to figure when you travel across the globe with a bunch of guys that you have a bit of a bond with them. Jackie?
Yeah. I mean, I've been on many tours myself. I know what that's like. You know, some of those tours will be with the same people, so you would often think, well, you know, you already have that connection. But no team is ever the same. There's always a new person, or there may even be a newer coach, or there may be a new manager. Whatever that is means that you are reconnecting and you're building a new culture within your team. Yeah. So it's never always the same, and that's the important part. Is you must actually work on those that culture.
Just a reminder, let's take a look at the defensive lineup for Japan. Of course, outfield Kuroda, Kawada, and Hamamoto left to right in the outfield. Sakuraba's on the hot corner. Yoyo Une, of course, the shortstop. We've seen him and what he brings, and Kento Okazaki back to work here, and he's looking at the number 8 hitter in Jakob Heine. Heine was a strikeout victim in his previous at-bat as he pops that one up and out of play.
And Jackie, you mentioned earlier on about connections and relationships, and that's really important. We call that whakawhanaungatanga or whanaungatanga. And relationships is really, really important for as a team. You know, you're bonding, you're out there travelling around together months on end, or trying to work successfully in achieving your goals. But to have your buddies back, and then for have your back, it's all about the relationships. So whanaungatanga is definitely that.
Yeah, and you will be working, you know, the umpires, when we talk about umpires, they'll be doing the same thing. You know, out there on the field as well. They'll need to make sure that they're aware that the way they're communicating, are they all doing what they need to be doing, you know, and also as individually making sure that they've got the count, that they know where they're standing, they've got their communication, whatever that communication looks like. It's a very important part of the game as well.
Absolutely, Jackie. It's really important for umpires to have pre-game meetings, and that's what they do before they head out into the yard.
That pitch missing upstairs from Okazaki. Count full now, 3-2. Is Heine 0 for 1. And a swing and a miss. Down he goes. Second time he has struck out in this ball game. And that will bring up the number 9 hitter in Merrick Wolf. So Okazaki seems to be in good form here in this early part of the pre-tournament, as does Holo Braddock, as we are in a scoreless game. As that bunt attempt from Wolf, nothing doing there but a strike.
Yeah, I think you're right, Lance, but it's also 4th inning. You know, they're probably just starting to relax, and it wouldn't, maybe relax is not the word, but just starting to find a little bit of a groove, settling into even on the diamond there, the condition of the diamond, you know, all of those little things, quirky things that we do also in softball as a player. So that's really, really important for them as they work through each game.
And it looks like going to be a visit to the circle. Not to the circle, sorry, a little conference with the umpire. Maybe something to do with Okazaki and his delivery, maybe his, whether it may be a bit extra hot, maybe something, not pausing. There could be a few things.
If I'm looking at this, Lance, it's probably just their pause. We want pitches to come to a complete stop for 2 seconds, and I guess the coach for the Czech Republic is just not seeing that. So he's out there having a chat.
Yeah, so he's probably looking for clarification, isn't he? He's going, well, you know, I just want to get some understanding here. What's going on here, umpire?
Sure, we're in game one. We were establishing something
That's
now.
right.
Let's establish it right. Heine, the previous hitter, although he struck out, had some really good swings against Okazaki. Now here, the number 9 hitter, Merrick Wolf, having a couple of good swings. And he's fouled one off here. And just getting some clarification on the count. Swing and a miss there, and down he goes. So Wolf, sometimes a couple of good cuts. Good for you going forward, but not so much when you're in the hole. 2 strikes.
Kento is really showing he's sort of just getting settled, isn't he? He's getting into a little bit more of a rhythm here.
He's now got 3 straight strikeouts, going back to the 3rd. And that one slapped down the line. That's going to go. Could be extra bases. Round in second, first, and into second with a double is Lucas Kubat. And he gets a solid hit, second hit of the ball game for the Czech Republic.
Ka Motuihi, lads. Ka Motuihi. That was awesome.
And he managed to stay back on that, didn't he? So they threw a little bit of, Kento threw a little bit of an off pace, bit of a change up there on the outside. And fortunately for this left-handed hitter, he just managed to be able to keep his body weight back and just hit that ball on the off field there.
Good piece of time, and as Martin Magula will step in, he walked and grounded out. So 0 for 1. Has been on base 1 time. Swing and a miss there. A bit of a half swing on a good pitch from Okazaki. So that pitch looked good, and it was in there for a strike. So Magula in the hole, I believe. No balls, 2 strikes, the count, and that is the count. And boy, this would go a long way if Okazaki could get out of this inning. And he certainly does by striking out the side. So sandwiched a double in there. It goes for naught. No runs, 1 hit, 1 runner left aboard. We're going to move on down to the home half of the 4th inning. We're still scoreless. We are at the Tradestaff International Invitational Series here, Colquhoun Park. Don't go away. We'll be back after this. Welcome back here to the Tradestaff International Invitational Series, Game 1. Lance Wynn alongside Jackie Smith. We're on the table. We are glad you have decided to join us as Michael Holobratic in the circle. And actually, it looks like we have had a pitching change, and it looks like it is the youngster, the young phenom in Ozichka that has come in to take over, or I may stand corrected. Pardon my old eyes. It is Holobratic that's still out there. And it's the 3, 4, 5 hitters for Japan here in the home half of 4 in One, Matsuda, and Toriyama. So the meat of the order up for Japan. And Braddock has kept them in check here for these first 3 innings, allowing just 2 base runners.
Yeah, and the Czech Republic coach is obviously thinking that, look, I want my guys to get some game time. Let's keep them in there and help them to get into their groove, work on their craft, really grind away with these hitters. And it's really, really important that they need that game time, especially against quality hitters. So quality hitters need the practice against quality pitching, and the same for your pitchers.
That's a leadoff single up the middle for One. So we saw his defense with the barehanded short hop play, and now picks up his first hit of this tournament. A solid single up the middle, and leadoff runner aboard for Japan. So that will bring up the cleanup hitter, and Hikaru Matsuda, one of the most established hitters could possibly be in the history of Japan's international softball competition, as the rain just picking up right now. And Matsuda, of course, with that familiar wrist twist, and that one's lifted up and out of play.
He just seemed to be ahead of that pitch on the outside there, just needs to keep his body weight back. You know, and again, there's just some timing here. Just hold back on that outside pitch.
Well, Braddock took something off, missing just down. And I think if you're a manager, you have to be happy with the way your pitchers, both pitchers, have thrown the first couple innings of this game.
Yeah, I think so. I think they've been able to. Well, that's what if that's what you're wanting, is you're wanting them to have the opportunity to face lots of hitters, combinations again, because you want your catchers and your pitchers working out. Okay, what should we be pitching? What shouldn't we be pitching? All of those things. It's really, really important. That's what you need.
Well, a little visit to Braddock, as we can see Jakub Osichka warming up down the right field line. And I imagine, Jackie, you're playing to win the games, but not at all costs.
Well, yeah, we all like to win and want to win. But I just think that they've got other things that they also want to work on that are the priority at the moment. You know, we've seen now that the coach from Czech seems to like to come out. You know, that's his style. He seems to walk out and wants some calmness, wants control. You know, every time the pitcher seems to be just getting a little bit anxious, or he feels like, I need to just pop out there and have a bit of a conversation, then he's certainly that type of coach, isn't he?
A good at-bat from Matsuda, as it looked like Braddock didn't really want much of the big hitter, as he picks up a walk. So that'll take us to the number 5 hitter in Naoki Kawada, who was hit by a pitch that's Keizuki Toriyama, who got caught looking in the second inning. Now coming up, and I would expect a bit of a square up here to try to advance the runners. No square up there as he looks at a pitch down for ball 1. Earlier in this game, Braddock's been working on top, throwing a lot of quick strikes, struggling a bit here in these first couple of at-bats here in the 4th. Big swing and a miss from Toriyama. Got caught looking in his last at bat, 0 for 1.
So you'll see there that he's gone outside on that pitch. It'd be interesting to see where the go-to pitch will be. Where do they want the ball hit? Do they want to keep it in front of the runners, or will they go inside and risk hitting behind the runners possibly?
Well, Toriyama almost had a lapse there, as you know, and we've got a man in blue up here. Of course, if you step out of that batter's box in international competition, you won't be stepping back in. As that pitch, a nibble outside corner, will run the count now to 2 balls and 2 strikes to Toriyama. Sometimes those little rules are the ones that players tend to just forget just a bit.
Yeah, and it's, we're all trying to speed the game up, keep the game flowing, and it's one of the ways of, keeping the players in the batter's box so we can keep moving and keep moving forward. But yeah, there are times the batters are like just wanting to relax and just kind of step out and have a breather, and they just do it, unintentionally. And then a penalty is applied.
Hard hit ball, and that goes off of Klein, and boy, that was a rope of a two-hopper. I think if I'm scoring that, I'd have to call that an infield hit. Jackie, I'm not sure. Scoring is only a second occupation, but that ball was hit pretty hard.
I think you were right the first time. It was a hard hit ball, but, he took the risk of going inside on that hitter. And yeah, he pulled that, perfect timing, and it was hit very hard.
So Klein, of course, one of the big important pieces to this Czech Republic puzzle, and you certainly don't want to see him injured and not available this weekend or next week. So I think we can expect to see potentially a change at some time, but it looks like Holobratic is going to, at the very least, face Naoki Kawada, the number 6 hitter. But I think a good time maybe to get together, have a little bit of a conference, and like you said, Jackie, just settle things down just a bit. And I think that's an important thing, knowing your team, right? You have to know if you've got a mix of younger players or if you've got veterans, if you think, who do you think's going to need that little bit of a talk or a little bit of a timeout just to settle them down.
Yeah. There's absolutely there's that, but I think there's also they need the game time. They need to be able to. We're in the 5th inning. You need to build your stamina. You need the endurance. That's what softball's all about. It's all about facing pitches. It's all about pitch. So for him, he needs the game time. He's just going to have to work through it, right?
Bases loaded here for the number 6 hitter in Kawada, hit by a pitch in his only other at bat. So a chance here for Japan to open the scoring as the rain gets just a little bit harder. Took something out. That's going to go through. That's going to find the gap. That's going to go for extra bases. One run's going to score. Another run's going to score. Rounding second into third. A 3-run triple for Naoki Kawada has opened the scoring. 3-0 for Japan.
We're here now, Lance. We're here now. Outstanding.
That was a good piece of hitting on a pitch that looked like it was right down the chute, and boy, he made no mistake.
Yeah, that was perfect timing. Just extended his arms out on that. I think it was probably more a little bit on the outside, but that's okay.
Well, that's why you're the expert, Jackie. I tell you, I'm just visiting.
Yeah, just hit it perfectly on the outside.
That's a really great example.
Trying not to overswing it on that, though, yeah?
I was going to say it's really an example of just working together, mahi tahi.
Yes.
Mahi tahi.
I'm going to check and see if there's going to be a pinch hitter. Teo Kateoka is the scheduled hitter. And looks like it'll be Keisuke Kitazawa that will come in to pinch hit. As Holobratic giving up that big hit. And 3 runs coming across for Japan. Chance here to cash one more. That one is fouled straight back, so good swing for sure. And definitely not intimidated is Kitazawa. Just want to remind our viewers out there, of course, that plenty of ball coming up. Australia and Argentina will follow this one, and then New Zealand against Canada. So we are hoping that the clouds and the rain will hold off. That pitch looked like it went off the foot. Check over, throw to first, and looks like they may have called that ball, or So just trying to figure out if...
So the batter runner believes it was a dead ball. He got hit off the bat.
And that's what I thought. I thought it had hit him first and it was a dead ball.
Our plate umpire, Gavin Shepherd's just going to go and have a chat with his team and say, hey, look, guys, can you help me out here?
I think that's the way it's supposed to be done. That's part of the teamwork. Everyone out there has to...
Mahi tahi.
Rain starting to come down just a bit harder. We could try to, at the very least, see if Holobradic can get out of this inning. But with just one away and another big duck in the pond, runner 60 feet away. And that pitch missing inside.
Yes.
I think we're going to, as you can see, Holobradic clearly having some issues holding on to the ball, but I would assume that had he not given up 3 runs, I'm sure he might be a little more anxious to stay out there, but I think that's going to be just hard enough as far as the rain goes, and that will leave us for a little bit of a break, as we will take a break here at Colquhoun Park. You're watching coverage of the 2022 Tradestaff International Invitational Series here on Ballpark Broadcasting NZ, brought to you by Softball New Zealand. Welcome back to Colquhoun Park, as weather has been a big factor here and it has wiped the schedule clean for the rest of the evening. That means Argentina and Australia not going to go today, go tomorrow. Canada, New Zealand will also go tomorrow. This one, Jackie, when we talk about it, Japan, Czech Republic, Japan with 3 runs in that 4th inning to win it, but surprisingly their aces were on the mound and they looked pretty good.
Yeah, and we talked about that the importance of this tournament is actually making the most of the opportunity, right? So it's game time. That's what they need. They need to get themselves ready. So they were prepared to come out and play ball, and that's what they showed us.
We will definitely see what the other 4 teams have to offer here in this tournament tomorrow. When things get posted, rescheduled times, we'll certainly let you know. So make sure that you stick to social media and keep your eye on the prize. We'll be back tomorrow.
E te ao whānui, ko takamai te tohua tāwhari mātea mo te rangi nei, ko oti. Hoi anō, he rangi anō a popo. Tuia ki runga, tuia ki raro, tuia ki roto, tuia ki waho. Ka rongo te ao, ka rongo te pō. Haumi e, hui e, tāe ki e.